Clara, I need to speak with you. Why haven't you been listening to a thing I say? Don't you remember that you promised to come to my house this morning to make breakfast for me? Bring the vegetables here and prepare.
Oh, good morning to you too, Dolores. I'm pretty sure I already told you, but I'm afraid that while today would normally be a day off, I still need to go to work, so I'm afraid I can't come today.
What are you talking about? That sort of thing is something you can leave to another staff member, can't you? What are you trying so hard for? It's not like a woman like you is going to be able to climb the corporate ladder anyway, regardless of how hard you try. Just work normally like everybody else. You shouldn't be trying to go the extra mile. Honestly, and here I was thinking that you would quit your job once you got married. And yet, here you are, treating the all-important mother of your husband. In other words, me, like I'm chopped liver, and are just continuing to work. And on a day you're supposed to have off, no less? That's exactly the sort of day you should be accomplishing the tasks you have as a wife instead.
I'll set aside my concerns about what you just said for a moment. If we go along with your logic, you're a wife as well, aren't you?
Excuse me?
Considering your house and mine are completely separate entities in two distinct areas, this implies that our two families have distinct living spaces and activities. Why don't you take care of your own meals?
Oh my. I was wondering what sort of drivel you would come up with. I don't think you understand your place in this relationship. I am the mother of your husband. The moment you became my son's wife, I became your mother-in-law, and there is a certain standing that comes with that. A mother-in-law is to be considered a vital part of the family, and a good wife needs to do as her mother-in-law asks and treat her with the utmost respect. If you have the time to make pointless arguments that do nothing but show how little you understand, you have time to come here and do the breakfast.
I'll be getting off the train soon, so I'm going to get going. Goodbye.
What? How dare you try to just ignore me? Clara, stop being so impudent with me and come back here already. A new wife like you has no right to act so selfishly to someone like me. Cut the arrogance and answer me. Clara, are you there? I will be expecting you to come over and do the lunch today, understand? You need to stop lollygagging, come over to my house and get started.
Good morning to you too, Dolores. I'm afraid that I have already headed out for the day, so I will not be able to come over.
Excuse me?
I don't see what there is to misunderstand. I'm already out of the house, and Ralph is with me.
What? You're out with Ralph?
Yes, I had already promised him that we would have lunch together in a French restaurant today.
You made plans with him on your own. How dare you not invite me? I told you that I needed to be considered as a vital part of the family, didn't I? Not inviting me along is terribly disrespectful.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was out of respect that I chose not to invite you along. You always don't like eating outside, don't you?
What do you mean?
The last time I invited you to go out to a restaurant, you said as much and angrily rejected my invitation, remember? Ralph had been listening to the whole thing, and he made the suggestion that we not invite you this time around so you wouldn't get so riled up about it.
You mean it was Ralph's idea?
Yes, Ralph had suggested it in the first place. So all I was doing was following his advice. Nothing more. As you are a vital member of the family, I wanted to respect your prior choice and not unduly trouble you. So I didn't have any objection to the idea.
What? But hold on.
I'm sorry, but Ralph and I are going to be arriving at the restaurant shortly, so I won't be responding to further texts. Dolores, are you there? Do you have any idea why I suddenly find myself looking at divorce papers on my dinner table?
So you found them then?
Not only did I find them, I see that Ralph's portion of them seemed to already be filled out.
Well, yes. You understand what this means, don't you? Ralph is on his mother's side. He is choosing me over you. When I brought to his attention how you were so terribly disrespecting me, he immediately got divorce papers ready. And now they have been handed over to you.
Oh, wow. Another case of you trying to bully me. What a completely original and entirely unexpected development.
What are you talking about? I am not bullying you.
Well, you certainly don't seem to have any desire to support your son and his wife's new life together, do you? You can't leave me alone for even a single day.
Don't you go trying to make this my fault. This is all your fault for not treating me with the proper respect and care I deserve. He has no need for a wife who will not obey me as you. If you don't want to divorce my son, you probably should work on trying to treat me better. I suggest you keep those divorce papers with you as a little warning to remind you of how you should be acting. For a wife who doesn't respect her husband's mother's authority, you do realize that there's no real solution other than divorce?
I can't say I have any idea what era you're stuck in, but it's certainly not the present. We're far from the time of treating grown-up children, in-laws, or not like slaves. But since you were so kind as to prepare Ralph's half of the documents and deliver them to me, I'll be happy to go and submit them.
We are going to do what?
We can call this the day that Ralph and I get divorced. How does that sound? I don't see any problem.
Wait, hold on.
What's wrong? Ralph filled out the forms, right? He clearly desires to get divorced, so I don't think there's much I can do about it. I would be a terrible wife if I didn't honor his wishes, even if I might not agree with him. It's for the best.
Wait, no, that's not what those papers are for. Those are just meant as a warning.
Anyway, I'll be heading to the county courthouse to get these papers filed. I'll be heading back to my parents' house afterwards, so don't expect me to be coming back, okay?
Wait a moment. Clara? You aren't seriously going to file those papers, are you? Clara! Clara, pick up the phone. What is going on here? What is happening?
Oh, hello, my ex-mother-in-law.
Huh? Ex?
Oh, that's right. I guess calling you something like that makes it sound horribly disrespectful. Why don't I just call you by your name like I always did instead? Anyways, Dolores, what is it you want to ask me?
Yes. That's right. You're being horribly rude. Don't you think you're going too far?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know what you mean.
Why do I have to move out of this house? It's like I was gotten out suddenly. Furthermore, it was you who suggested that I move out. What's happening to me? It's utterly ridiculous. His rudeness truly knows no bounds.
Oh, really? You still don't understand what's going on?
I truly don't understand what's happening. I want you to explain it clearly.
It seems like Ralph hasn't told you, but I think you should ask your son. I don't want to say much to you. Quickly pack your things and leave by next Monday. I need to take back this house.
It seems like you're being quite arrogant. You're acting as if you're the owner of this house.
That's right. You're absolutely right. I am the owner of the house you've been living in for the past 2 years.
What? This is absolutely insane. If you don't know, then I'll tell you. This is the house my son bought for me. He wanted me to stay in the city so he could take care of me. Since my husband passed away, he has showered me with love and care.
Huh? This is his own house? Let me clarify for you. 2 years ago, when your husband passed away, Ralph was deeply concerned about leaving you alone in a remote town. He suggested bringing you to the city to live closer to us. He could only be at ease if you were nearby. Right from the beginning, he intended to rent a house for you, but the cost was too high.
So this isn't the house he bought?
Buying a house in the city center costs an exorbitant amount. At that time, he didn't have much money either. Ralph suggested borrowing this house to provide you with a place to live.
Just wait. I need to calm down. But how did you end up with such a large and beautiful house like this? How...
Actually, this is the only asset my mother left for me before she passed away. She sold the house in the countryside to buy this house. She put the property in my name. Ralph also knows about this, so he wanted to rent this house for you to live in. And I agreed to have you move here. After all, you are my mother-in-law, so you could live in this house without paying any expenses. But Ralph boasted that it's his house.
That's outrageous. I'm as a beggar living in another house for the past 2 years.
I'm sorry, but that's the situation you got yourself into. I signed the divorce papers, which means I'm no longer Ralph's wife. You're no longer my mother-in-law either. Therefore, I have the right to take back this house. You should accept this and leave.
No, Clara. If I leave, I'll have nowhere to go. I also can't contact Ralph.
I don't care how you'll live from now on. We have no relationship with each other anymore. I have no reason to help someone as unpleasant as you. Remember that I've already signed the divorce papers.
So where should I go?
Isn't it that you still have a small house in the countryside? It's more suitable for you to live there than here. I assume your son has also moved back there. His belongings are no longer in the room here.
Then I'll go back to the countryside to find him. My life will be meaningless if he's not by my side.
That's not my concern. Goodbye.
Kara, please, answer the phone. Look, let's just cancel the divorce, okay? How does that sound? Please, can't you just go back to how things were with him?
I'm sorry. What? What are you going on about all of a sudden?
Ralph said some terrible things. To me, I'll just quote it directly. He said, "I don't want to live with a mother who makes my wife get a divorce because she won't obey unreasonable demands." He told me to live my own life.
Oh my, that's completely understandable. Honestly, I don't even know why you're surprised.
What?
Look, Dolores, there's something you need to understand. It has to do with those divorce papers that you left for me to find. I knew that Ralph hadn't filled out those forms himself. From the very beginning, it was obvious that you had filled everything out yourself.
Excuse me?
The handwriting is completely different. Anyone who has seen Ralph write anything would notice the difference.
You mean you filed the papers even though you knew all of that?
Yes, I have submitted it.
Please withdraw them. He's not at fault in this matter at all. Not even falsely claiming ownership of the house. It's all me. I have shattered the happiness of your marriage. I truly apologize. Actually, I just wanted to scare you because you weren't listening to me. You didn't care about my meals. I just wanted to give you a lesson, but Ralph got very angry with me, and it seems like he doesn't want to see me anymore.
Please accept that your son doesn't want you anymore and go back to your rural area. The divorce case will be processed soon, so please don't bother me anymore. In other words, from now on, we are strangers.
Why does nobody care about me? Why will nobody take care of me anymore?
After I blocked communication with Dolores, she kept calling Ralph incessantly. But it seems he's no longer concerned about his mother either. She lives alone in a small countryside house and takes care of herself. From what I've heard, she's doing farming in the countryside to make a living day by day. Yet, she still complains all day about rural life. She can't distinguish between selfishness and care, probably feeling lonely after losing her husband. Therefore, her actions are driven by a desire to grasp attention and affection from everyone. But it seems like no one cares about her. My life alone isn't too bad either. I'm free to do things I enjoy without her constant nagging.
I don't need to serve or cook for anyone anymore.
Ralph, on the other hand, hasn't been in touch with me either. It seems he's also hesitant because his mother has caused a rupture in the family's emotions. No longer has any presence in my life. I also don't want to care about his family anymore. Life has become better without him. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and hit the subscribe button below.
Hey Tessa. It's been a while since the last time I heard from you. Is everything good? I'm so sorry I didn't have time to text and call you as often as I used to. You know, I'm a famous writer now, and I've been swamped with interviews and book signings. Ugh. I hope you didn't take it too personal and forgive my carelessness. Hi, Heather. Yes, things are going well, as usual. In fact, nothing much has changed since the last time I moved out of the house, actually. I'm surprised you brought that up. Are you still holding a grudge against me for marrying your ex-husband? It's been years, sis. You should be able to forgive me by now. We're family after all. I wish it were that easy. Losing my husband and getting kicked out of my house in one day was a lot to handle. As a matter of fact, I still haven't fully processed everything that happened, and I still feel the pain when I think about it. I know, sis. But how can you save a marriage that was no longer working anymore? George already told you that his feelings for you had faded over time, and I was the only one who had a spot in his heart. Surely he made this clear before you guys got divorced, correct? I know you're still beating yourself up for losing such a well-off man like George, but it's about time you move on and face the reality, Tessa. I never cared about his money. What I cared about was the betrayal. I was deeply hurt when I found out that he cheated on me with you. The sight of you two together in my bedroom was a knife to my heart. I felt betrayed and humiliated. Come on, sis. Don't act like I'm the one who's at fault here. I mean, your husband was the one who hit on me first. What was I supposed to do? Even if that were the case, you could have easily said no. But instead you chose to betray your own sister. My husband wasn't innocent, but I don't think you were either. In fact, I still blame myself sometimes for ignoring the red flags that kept telling me you were seducing my husband. Honey, I wouldn't call it a betrayal. Didn't you hear what he said before the day you got divorced? He told you that he had lost all of his interest in you a long time ago. But he didn't want to hurt your feelings. Many times he came to me for comfort and advice, and we grew closer and closer just like that. George was unhappy for quite a long time, and he just finally found the courage to leave. Enough! I'm not really feeling up to talking about that at the moment. Can we just change the subject of our conversation? Yeah, sure. So, what have you been doing for a living, Tessa? Still trying to make it as a full-time freelance artist? I already told you a million times, your paintings suck. No one wants to buy them. They're so bad, you could lay them on the floor and people would mistake them for doormats. Don't be so harsh on me, Heather. I know my paintings aren't everyone's cup of tea, but I believe that art should be a reflection of the artist's heart and soul. I could draw something easier for the audience to approach, but that would be a betrayal of my own artistic vision. I'm not going to compromise my art just to make it more marketable. I know that there are people out there who appreciate my work for what it is. Whatever your stupid belief is the reason why you're still living in poverty. For me, money comes first, and it's all about creating things that people will like. Just look at me and my best-selling book, The Power of Marriage. Sold over 200,000 copies and generated more than $1.6 million last year. Can you believe it? Oh, and have you heard about my book, A Match Made in Success? It's a memoir about my marriage to George, and it was just published last month. It's already sold a couple of thousand copies, and I'm really excited about it. Yes, I've heard about those books, and you've also written many other famous marriage books. I just thought it's quite ironic that someone who has sabotaged other people's marriages would write about the principles for a strong and lasting relationship. Hey, are you referring to me, Tessa? I can see that you're still struggling to conceal your jealousy of my successful and wealthy life. It must be hard to see someone like me living the good life while you're stuck in your destitute existence. I guess it must be tough raising Gabriella all by yourself, huh? At least George still gives you some pity money every month to keep you and Gabriella from the verge of hunger. So, you're finally showing your true colors, huh? Well, let me tell you something. I know exactly how hard I had to sacrifice for you to get where you are today. I gave up my dreams, my relationships, and my sanity, all so that you could achieve yours. Oh, not again. When our father passed away and our mother left us, I was the one who stepped up to take care of you. I worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time to make sure that you had everything you needed to succeed in school. I even had to drop out of college myself, but I didn't care. All I wanted was to make sure that you had the best possible chance in life. And what did you do? You repaid my sacrifice by stepping into my marriage with George and destroying it. Oh, for the love of God! Would you please stop giving me that lecture? I'm so sick of hearing it. I don't owe you my entire life for something you did for me 10 years ago. I barely even remember it. I certainly don't appreciate you bringing it up every single time we talk. You sure are ungrateful, aren't you? Anyways, do you have free time? I just want to invite you to come over to my house and join my birthday party. It'll be fun. But don't bring Gabriella along. She would cry and ruin the party for everyone else. I don't really want to go because I have a lot of things to do. Ugh, please, your excuses are so lame. What else do you have to do all day besides painting those ridiculous pictures that belong in the trash? Think about the sake of our sisterhood and come to my house, please. It will be great fun. I can guarantee you. Okay. I guess it wouldn't harm just to attend your birthday party. We're sisters after all. I'll be there, but I'm not making any promises about how much fun I'll have. That's my sister. So I'll see you at 8 o'clock in the evening at my house, right? Don't forget about it. What was your intention of inviting me to your dinner party last night? You treated me like my presence wasn't even important. You called me your housekeeper and made me slave away for you and your guests. What was that all about? I'm not sure if you were trying to be funny or if you were just being mean, but either way, it was really hurtful. Tessa, really, could you think rationally for just a little bit? How can I call you my sister when you're so impoverished? I mean, judging by the way you dressed yesterday, I can only guess those outdated garments were bought at a thrift store or a garage sale. It's embarrassing to be seen with you in public. You don't even deserve to be my housekeeper. What? How can you say that about your own sister? Are appearance and money truly that important? What else could be more important? I mean, look at how my friends dress and look. They're all from wealthy families, have high social status, or are celebrities. If I claimed you as my sister, they'd laugh at me in my face and then shun me. You wouldn't want that to happen to your own sister, would you? But why didn't you give me a heads up? Instead, you made me a laughingstock in front of your friends. Well, it's not like you would find anything more decent to wear even if I told you about my friends in advance. But thanks for coming anyway. You were very helpful at cleaning after the party. I was so concerned because my current housekeeper asked for a sick leave and I couldn't find anyone better to replace her. So you called me up just so I could do the work for your housekeeper? Well, I'm not surprised by your actions anymore. After all, you've already stolen my husband and belittled my chosen profession. What else couldn't you possibly do to hurt me? One thing I'm a little concerned for you, though. Concerned for me? Why would you be concerned for me? I have everything I could ever want. I'm at the top of my career, I own your former house and your wealthy ex-husband, and I'm living the best life imaginable. What could possibly be wrong? Well, I'm just interested to see how the audience will react when they find out that your marriage is not as perfect as it seems. Will they be disappointed? Will they be shocked? I can't tell for sure. What do you mean when saying that my marriage isn't perfect? We are both incredibly successful people. I'm a world-renowned writer, and George is a household name who earns over $500,000 per year. What could possibly go wrong with my marriage? Well, I'm not trying to be nosy, but I found out yesterday that you and George are sleeping in separate rooms. I don't have to be a psychologist to know that sleeping apart can be a sign of troubled marriage, or even a marriage that's on the verge of dying. Am I correct about that? What? How dare you break into my room without my permission? I'm sure you were looking for something to take from my house. What? I may have some financial problems, but I'm certainly not a thief. You were the one who told me to clean the entire house before the guests arrived, remember? I only did what you asked me to do. Oh yeah, I told you that. But it's understandable that every marriage has its ups and downs. My marriage with George is no exception. We've had a few arguments lately and we're not talking to each other right now, but that doesn't mean our marriage is on the verge of dying like you said. The condition of the master bedroom is a clear indication that it hasn't been used in a long time. The air is stale and musty, the floor is covered with a thick layer of dust, and there are cobwebs in the corners. The windows are also smudged with dirt. Just admit it. You and George weren't sleeping together for years. Why do you have to keep pretending that you have a happy marriage? We both know that's not the case. You're not fooling anyone. It's my family business. Don't stick your nose into it. I'm sure your audience will be devastated to learn that the power couple, an impeccable marriage they look up to, is nothing but a complete sham. I'm sure the press will be thrilled after I reveal to them this hot topic. You! How dare you threaten me like that? No, I mean, Tessa, why should you ever rat out your own sister? Really? I've made a great fortune and achieved fame from selling those books. If anyone ever finds out the truth about my marriage with George, my reputation will be ruined and I'll be ruined with it too. I'm begging you, Tessa. Please don't tell anyone about this. Just a few minutes ago, you were raising your voice at me, calling me your housekeeper, and belittling me for my financial status. What's the reason for your sudden change in your behavior? Well, Tessa, you know I didn't mean what I say. In fact, you already knew that I'm a person who always speaks without thinking about the consequences of my words. Please, Tessa, just forgive me this one time. I'll swear I'll treat you better the next time we meet. You have my word. I don't know, Heather. You've done me wrong over and over again. I don't know if I can still put my trust in you after all of this. I know I messed up, and I'm so sorry for what I did. I know that it doesn't make it right, but I hope you can forgive me. You know that you're the only one I can count on. Other than you, I have no one else. Please, Tessa, spare me this time. Okay, I let you go this time, but I'm warning you. If you do this to me again, I'm done. I can't keep forgiving you for breaking my trust. Thank you, Tessa. I know that you're my dearest sister in the world, and you would never do anything to harm me. Tessa? Are you there? I have something very important to talk to you about. Yeah, I'm here. What's up? I have something to ask you. It may sound a little strange, but just hear me out, okay? Sure, go ahead. I'll try to help you the best I could. Listen, can you let me borrow your daughter, Gabriella, for some time? The situation is urgent, and you can't say no to me. What? Borrow Gabriella? What do you need my daughter for? In fact, what are you even thinking? I know this is a lot to process all at once, but I had no other choice. Press has been hounding me with questions about my child with George. They've been asking when we're going to have a child, why we haven't had a child after 4 years of marriage, and even if I'm infertile. I've been bombarded with so many questions, and I finally felt like I had to defend myself. I had to tell them that we already have a child, but we've chosen to keep her out of the public eye. So now you want Gabriella to pretend to be your own child? That's only gonna worsen the situation. You can't cover one lie with more lies. You know that. But what could I do in that circumstance? Tell them that my marriage with George isn't fulfilled and happy as it looks on the surface? If the press found out about it, my life would be a complete disaster. I've worked so hard for my career. I've built everything I have from the ground up. The fame, the money, the spotlight. Everything I own would dissipate in just a blink of an eye. How can I live with that? I don't know, Heather, but this is just too much. Gabriella is my daughter, and I love her more than anything in the world. I just can't hand her over to you like a merch. Oh, sister, don't make it sound so complicated. I'm just gonna borrow Gabriella for the press release of my upcoming book. After that, I'll let her back into your arms. Safe and sound. In fact, after appearing at my press release as my daughter, Gabriella will become famous just like me. With her newfound fame, she'll be able to earn a lot of money and sign contracts with large brands. This'll turn you and your daughter's destitute life into something that's worth living. Don't try to bait me with money. You know that I'm not a materialistic person like you. Besides, Gabriella doesn't need the kind of fame that is based on lies. She deserves to be famous for her own merits, not because of someone else's deception. I don't want her to end up like you, living a life that is based on falsehood and manipulation. I know, but at least help me out this time. If you still consider me your sister, look, if you don't lend me a helping hand this time, my whole career and everything I put effort into will go down the drain. Do you actually have a heart to see everything I've worked for get destroyed right in front of my eyes? Look, if you don't agree to my plan, then I have no reason to exist in this world anymore. What are you saying, Heather? Please don't think about doing anything stupid. You still have a whole life ahead waiting for you. Just divorce George and rebuild your happiness from scratch. You still have plenty of time. You're still young. Are you crazy? I can't give up the fame, money, and glory that I'm possessing. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. If you don't agree with my plan, it's all over. Don't break my heart into a million pieces. You know I only have you and Gabriella as my flesh and blood relatives. So you agree to do as I say. Come on, I'm only borrowing Gabriella for one day. I'll have her back to you before you know it. All I'm going to do is introduce her to the audience and have her practice answering some questions for the press. I just need her to convince everyone that I'm her mother. I promise I won't do anything to harm her. I just need her help for one day, and then she'll be back with you. Okay then, if you insist. That's my sister! I'd like to borrow her for tomorrow morning for my press release. It starts at 9 a.m., so I'll come to your house at 8 a.m. to pick her up. You know, this press release is for my new book, The Parenting Journey, a roadmap for raising happy, healthy children. I know the audience will love it, especially when I introduce my own child, who I'll claim to be the source of my inspiration. This is so wrong, Heather. I feel like you're lying to the audience, especially your fans. Honestly, my biggest advice for you at this very moment is to stop before it's too late. I know. Just help me this one time and I'll promise I'll never ask anything from you ever again. Fine. I'll help you this time, but please don't do anything out of line. Heather, where are you and Gabriella? I've been waiting for you the whole day. You said you were going to return Gabriella to me by 1 p.m. Didn't you receive my innumerous texts and calls? I'm sorry, Tessa, but Gabriella is staying with me. She's such a bright kid, and the audience fell in love with her immediately. Did you know that just today, my new book has sold a couple of thousand copies? It's thanks to Gabriella. Tessa, I think I'm going to keep her around. Will you let her stay with me? No! She's my daughter. How can I let you keep her? Oh, come on, Tessa. Do you honestly think that you're giving her the life she deserves with your scanty income? I, on the other hand, have a solid financial footing that I can guarantee you that I'll take a better care of her than you ever did. I promise Gabriella will be showered with fame and money when she's become my child. There's no way she's gonna agree with your stupid idea. She knows very well that I'm her mom and she will insist on coming back to my arms. Oh, Heather, she's a 2-year-old kid. She can't decide for herself. Besides, I'm already at the airport. Me and my husband and Gabriella are heading to another country where you can't find me. Don't worry. I'll send you a couple of pictures of your daughter every now and then. Your child will be a great tool for me to earn even more money. I knew you would do something like this. You know? What do you know about? Look, I overheard the conversation between you and George. You saw how the audience reacted to Gabriella, and you decided to exploit her for your own gain. You only wanted to use her as a tool to further promote the image of a perfect family that you're crafting. Do any of my words sound wrong to you? What? So you already found out about my plan? Why did you let me carry on with it anyway? Well, I just want the world to know your other side of personality, and what's better than catching you red-handed. By the way, me and the paparazzi are after you. We were tailing you all the way from your house to the airport. You're not gonna get away so easily. And what's happening between us is being broadcasted live. Guess you're making $1 million worth show, just as you always wanted. What? Where are you? Show yourself now! I don't have time to play the game of cat and mouse with you. Well, take a look behind your back and find out. Heather was shocked when she saw me in a crowd of paparazzi chasing after her, demanding answers. Everyone now knew the truth about her so-called happy and successful family. It was all a lie, a carefully crafted facade to make money. In reality, Heather and her husband George hadn't spoken to each other in years. She'd found out he'd been cheating on her with another woman, and she had been too humiliated to tell anyone. Now, the truth was out, and Heather was facing the consequences. Her books were being boycotted, her reputation was in ruins, and she was being sentenced to 3 years in prison for kidnapping. The prospect of my sister being able to write again seems daunting, and it may take a considerable amount of time. Additionally, I am uncertain if anyone will ever believe what she says again after what happened. Finally, Gabriella got back into my arms again. My precious girl is the angelic light that guided me even during my darkest days. She's my reason for living, and every picture that I paint reflects the immense and inseparable love between us. As my daughter Gabriella became famous, my paintings also gained more recognition. The audience finally understood the deep meaning behind my paintings, which depict the special bond between a mother and child. Eventually, I was able to open my own painting gallery. With the proceeds of the sale of my paintings, which amounted to almost $100,000, I donated half the money to charities that provide financial assistance to single mothers. I hope to uplift their lives in the same way that mine had been uplifted.